Hello, welcome to the Kam Johal show, and today my guest is a real groundbreaking individual who has shattered the glass ceiling of what was traditionally known as Bhangra music in this country and internationally. So without further ado, my guest today is the one and only Parv Kaur. Welcome, Parv.
Hello, Cam. How are you?
Yeah, great. Good to have you.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, incredible journey here locally, started in Birmingham?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And can you take us back, because you're a music family, aren't you? And your dad's a bit of a legend. So that's where the inspiration, I guess, came from.
Yeah, I mean, the journey's not 2-3 years, it's 25, 30 years. My dad is Balbir Singh Pachangi from Pachangi Group. They had a massive band in the 80s, and all I heard in my childhood was Bhangra music. And seeing my dad performing at gigs and promoting Bhangra and, you know, just doing what he loves, even after doing 14, 16-hour shifts at the foundry, because things were tough for us. He loved music.
Yeah, because there's no money in it, was there?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't even about the money, Cam.
Yeah.
It was more about connecting people together. People wanted to know what struggles they were going through, and that was through Dad's music. So his popularity began, you know, without singing about common things like Bhangra or alcohol or women. He was thinking more about how he had to push a heavy wheelbarrow at work, or the time he first met my mom at the airport. And those kind of songs connected people together because they were going through the same struggles.
Yeah, about life, right?
About life.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so cool. Why can't I be like that?
And so how old are you at this point when you're thinking like this?
So I was kind of like in my GCSE, like year 8, year 9.
Okay.
And we were coming up to our options for choosing our GCSE subjects. And I was like, I'm choosing music.
Okay.
And we had a music teacher, Mrs. Williams. And I was telling her about my dad. And she was the one that encouraged me a little bit further to say, yeah, let's get you to do this for your project.
Okay.
Let's get you to do this in your future, so it'll help you. And that's probably where the turning point was, GCSE time.
And so when you were talking to Mrs. Williams, was this about Bhangra or traditional sort of English music stuff?
I think she introduced me, because obviously GCSE music was all English, and
Yes.
I says, why can't I put All Saints with a Dhol beat, or like Justin Bieber or whatever it was then, to this kind of a drum beat. And she was like, yeah, you can play, you know, the dholki and the tabla and the dhol. And that's I was already playing Bhangra music. I was already into Bhangra music without even knowing it.
Yeah.
And I think GCSE music enabled me to combine the two worlds together. And that's when the penny dropped. I thought, I can do this. I can do something here. And that's when literally the journey began.
So you knew quite early on, you know,
Yeah.
the path that your life would take to a degree.
Yeah, I thought this is the
Yeah.
way forward. Nobody was telling me I couldn't do it at that point. There was no challenging, no obstacles. I was just seeing one route, and that was having a musical route. And then things suddenly changed.
As they do.
As they do.
So how old were you when you went to the first gig with your dad and his band?
I was probably in year 10, so I was like hitting 14, 15. And I think at that age, I wanted to go wherever my dad went. So he would get his, you know, his bajja and his dholki and pick up the lads. And I was like, where are you going? So I'm going to a gig. I said, I want to come with you.
And what
So
did he
what
say
are you
to
going to
that?
do? I said, I'll just play dhol at the back. So I'd sit at the back, right at the back. You've got 10 musicians, and Dad and Dad's brother and me at the back, just yeah, you're right, just nodding away. Because everybody, it was a family band. It was my cousin brothers. It was my mother Munde. It was all. Everybody knew me, so I felt comfortable. But I was always doing this. Who's in the crowd? Who's watching? Where's the camera? You know,
Yeah.
I couldn't see anything.
Why do you think you were doing that? Because you knew inside that you wanted to lead these things, that you wanted to be at the front?
Yeah, I thought, you know, Dad's jumping around and singing and throwing his, you know, cap off and, you know, enjoying himself, and people are going mad for him. And I was like, well, why can't I do that?
Yeah.
Why can't I be like him? And I don't think my dad actually took me seriously. You know, she'll get bored, she'll get over it. He He didn't go, you are going to be a Dhol player, you are going to be part of my band, you are going to take my name forward. He didn't say any of that. I don't think he realised how much I wanted it.
No. Is that because he didn't ask, or you didn't tell, or do you think he was just hoping it's just going to be a little phase? And
I think he was hoping it's going to be a phase because he struggled financially when they came from India, and I'm talking the 60s, and he didn't want me to fall into a music path where I couldn't provide for my future family or myself. Or I think that all parents, they were worried about,
of course,
an education. He didn't go to school. They struggled to make ends meet. Two families were in one house. Heating wasn't an option. Toilets were outside the house. I can remember everything.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm not going to live this life where he feared for my future. I had to prove him wrong.
Because as you said, I remember going to weddings, and of course, when we were growing up, only the men would go when I was a kid, and we'd end up at a function in a pub somewhere.
Yeah.
And then one of these singers would come along, and there was no money in the damn thing, was there? Yet you'd think that they were successful, but you tell another story that your struggles were just the same as a family in terms of finances as everybody else.
Yeah, the best thing about what Dad was doing, he never said, no, you can't go. Oh, no, we can't allow it. He was like, yeah, come on then. Wear something warm. Or, he never, my mum did. She's like, it's getting late. She's got school tomorrow. She hasn't done her homework. But the worry from my mother was completely different to the worry from my dad.
Okay, tell me because for our viewers, mums and dads are sitting on sofas. So what was your mum's view? Because you're a teenage girl now, you're growing up, you know what boys are.
Yeah,
so
I think that was the main
was.
worry. She knew Bhangra equals male dominating. Bhangra equals alcohol. Bhangra equals partying. And I think she wanted me to take a different normality path of what parents would want. Daughter to go to university, daughter to get married and have a child and settle down. And I kept saying to Mom, I can do all that, but I can still be a superstar like Dad.
Yeah.
Everyone called him Elvis at work.
Wow.
Why can't I be the new Madonna? And she used to think I was actually being serious about it. And she's like, she'll grow out of it. But I didn't.
Yeah. But parents are fearful, aren't they? They want safety for their kids. And you can understand. Yeah. And then that kind of career, especially seeing that your father wasn't really making a lot of money, giving up a lot of his time. You can understand that from your mum's point of view, that, again, like your dad, maybe for different reasons, didn't want to see you struggle.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't see Dad. He was at shift work, then he was at gigs. That was his life. He loved it. There's no such thing as studio or rehearsal, so they used to practice at our house, they used to meet at the house, the roti pani was at our house. And we became a bonding community Bhangra family. And I just thought, where are the women? Where's the women singers?
Did you question that early on?
No, I didn't, because I thought, I'm bound to see someone soon. Bound to see someone. I just didn't.
But you were conscious of it?
It was in the back of my mind. Yeah. And I thought, then I had to really think, oh my God, are women even allowed to do this? And then, I didn't see anybody that I could look up to. Yes, Dad introduced me to old school Punjabi singers like Parv Kaur and Surinder Kaur and singers that we used to listen to. But in the UK at that time, 27 years ago,
nobody.
I couldn't see anybody. And then I thought, what is going on?
Right.
And then that was the 1999 is when I thought, that's it.
So it inspired you, the fact that there were, because obviously sometimes what happens is if you can't see role models, it can crush you, can't it? Because nobody's doing anything that. But that obviously inspired you to be the trailblazer, as it were. To be that role model for other people? Yeah,
I mean, my role model was Dad. He was Elvis. I wanted to be his little, Madonna. And I just wanted to travel and I wanted to promote and I wanted to do what he was doing. And in fact, that meant I had to go in my own direction and to inspire other women or girls at that age to say, oh, someone's starting door classes in Smethwick, I want to go because it's a girl. Why? I just wanted to start something off. I mean, there were some door classes in Smethwick, but it was led by a male, and there was 15 guys in there, and I was at the back of the classroom.
Of course. So that's the other thing that's really interesting, because some of our viewers won't know this, and some of them will reminisce. But we were talking earlier that most of the Bhangra scene was in Smethwick, wasn't it? That's where it all started from, wasn't it?
Yeah, it started from Smethwick, the main Desi pubs, the Bhangra groups. And we were vibing in Bhangra groups. I loved listening and watching DCS, Hira come about, Alap, Anari Sangeet, because that's where it stemmed from.
Yeah.
Bachangi were the first group to start Bhangra. This is 1964 we're talking. I came in the 80s. So think about it. They were already in their peak, being rock stars and like the Beatles, and the meeting, then Apana Sangeet, and then the meeting this. And I'm like, whoa, where's the female bands?
Yeah.
Where is Beyonce's group? Where is the female version of Bachangi?
Yeah.
And my dad was like, there isn't any. I was like, really? I just couldn't believe it.
So he never said, I want you to be that person. Or you never said, Dad,
no, we didn't have that conversation.
No,
Can you believe it? We did not have the conversation. The only turning point was I said, Dad, I don't want to study.
Okay.
And that's the world crushed.
Yes.
I thought, oh God.
No Indian parent ever wants to hear that, do they? I don't want to go to school.
I said, I do not want to continue on with my studies for
At
A
what
levels.
age?
That was 16.
16. So you knew then music was going to be a large part of your life.
I need to put my all into making a group, making a band, doing classes, promoting it. There was no social media, there was no YouTube. That means I had to by hand give out flyers and leaflets. I had to go talk more. I said, Dad, I need time for this. I've got no time to study.
Okay, so...
Wasn't a great day.
I can imagine. So at some point you must have had the conversation, because you did go on to study.
Yeah, he kind of made me understand that, you know, your passion is your passion.
Yeah.
But a working career in the UK is a working career in the UK. You can, you know, I can achieve both. He goes, you know, use your study to fund your passion. He goes, I couldn't. He goes, make it into something that's worthwhile and will last a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Make it where you are putting an impression on people. Use, you know, your student loan to buy your first car, because I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're not buying my car. And that's when the penny dropped. I have to pay for my bus journeys. I had to pay for my... And where was that money going to come from? It's not going to come from Dhol.
And that's the conversation, isn't it? Because that's the great turning point.
That was the major turning point for me.
When you make that decision, you know, your dad gets through to you and says, look, you know, there's no money in this at this moment in time. And of course, he's had this situation whereby finances probably stopped them from travelling and doing things that they could have done perhaps.
See, I didn't know all this.
Of course.
I didn't ask him.
Well, you're 16 years old, why would you?
He was travelling all around the UK. Never saw him. I was like, yo, he's you know,
he's the man. He's Elvis, isn't he?
You know, he's the man. You know, and he told me he hit me with reality.
Yeah.
Because it's not great out there.
Yeah.
Not many people will, you know.
So as a, you know, because I often talk to our audience about parents and children and the relationship, because it's very important, you know, and here it is, the key turning point in where your father sits you down and say, look, Putter, you know, you want to do this, but here's the reality, but you can realise your dreams if you go and do this.
Yeah.
So you kind of do a deal with your parents and you do a deal with yourself.
Yeah, because my older brother and sister were already in the working education, university aspect of life. So there's a third child that's come in and says, oh, well, I don't want to study. I think that's when my sister said, look, we'll help you. Choose computer science or IT. That way you can afford to do your own website, your own you know, in the future. Because we couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford to design a website.
Yeah.
So I fell into IT and computer science. I just fell, like literally from A to B, I just fell into it.
Okay.
And that's how my career started.
So your full-time gig is you're a teacher?
Yes, I am a lecturer. In computer science and IT. I've been doing it for 16 years.
Yeah.
I loved it so much that I couldn't let it go.
Yeah. So which university?
So I'm part of the Birmingham University and West Bromwich campus. And I teach 16 to 18-year-olds to get into university, and I wouldn't give it up.
No, you were saying.
I wouldn't give it up. I love the aspect of achievement.
Yeah.
I wanted that from my students that I taught, not just computer science, but also the students I was teaching Dhol. I wanted to see an achievement. What are they getting out of playing the Dhol? It's got to be culture, it's got to be tradition, it's got to be an audience, it's got to be an award. Not just money aspect of things, just something where they think, oh, I went to the BBC yesterday, or I performed in Bollywood yesterday, and they can talk to their mates about it.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted.
Okay, so let me just clarify something. So you're a full-time lecturer,
Yes.
right? And you teach what subject?
Computer science and IT.
Computer science.
Yeah.
So which is your area of expertise.
Yes.
So then the Bhangra, where does it come? How does it fit in? Because obviously this is full-time.
Career is full-time, and then obviously we do evening classes, obviously before lockdown. So we spent 9 hours a week training students to be potential Bhangra and potential Dhol players. And then we train those students to be a particular level where they can go out and perform.
Okay. And so, but then you also have your own performing business and your own group?
Yes, Eternal Dhol. I established that in 1999. Eternal Dhol came from the name E.T.
Okay.
My nickname was E.T. Dad absolutely loved the film when I was born. And he said, I'm going to nickname her E.T. God knows why. But that name stuck. It was a household name.
Yeah.
And I was like, what can we think of a group name, E.T.? And Dad was like, infinity, eternal, make it lifelong. I was like, okay, eternal.
Yeah.
And then Dhal in Punjabi means beats,
Of course.
Dhal, so we called it Eternal Dhal.
And it's been had the same name since
Same
then?
name since 1999.
Okay. So you performed now, just the list is endless, isn't it? But for people that think that Punjabi music is just for Punjabi people, or it's at weddings where they see the Dhol player and that's about it, it's not, is it? Because you've performed everywhere.
The thing is, that's what I thought. That's what I thought
You thought the
Dhol
same?
was
Okay.
Punjabi audience, Punjabi music. Because Bajrangi were just performing to a Punjabi audience, Punjabi singers, Punjabi speaking audience. And I think I was craving for that attention. So we went to Vaisakhi Mellas, London Mela, Smethwick Mela, whatever Mellas were out 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I wanted to be part of that. And then one day, somebody asked me to perform for a school workshop.
Okay.
And nobody in the audience was Asian.
Okay. I want to stop you there, because at the end of the day, you know, whether it's music, you know, whether it's a teaching career, you know, the music business is a business, isn't it?
Yeah.
So when you got into it, and again we were discussing earlier, so you're the only girl that's going to be performing anything. All the other guys are going to be guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you still had a lot of resistance, didn't you, to get your first gigs? You were leaflet dropping and all sorts of things.
Yeah, I was literally
How hard was
begging
that,
them, Cam. I was literally saying, come on, I've got 5 students. Let us open the show. No, we've got Dhol players. But this is a new group. It's young, it's fresh. We've got new beats. I've put, you know, Dr. Dre with Dhol, Dr. Dre with Dhol, and we're combining the two together. And they weren't having any of it.
No. Why do you think that was?
Simply because I was a female.
That's ludicrous, isn't it?
It's got to be.
Yeah.
What other reason? You've got a fresh, talented group of predominantly female. They're young, 16, 17-year-olds. Yes, we had Bhangra groups which were going. We had one Dhol player with Bhangra dancers. We had a couple of Dhol players, all men dancers. You had singers with a Dhol player, great. We offered a young, female-orientated English mixed Bhangra, and nobody took us serious.
Incredible, isn't it? So again, you know, because we're talking about inspiration, right? You know, you're doing some really inspirational work. So for somebody sitting and watching this now, you know, what were you going through at that time? Did you ever feel like, you know what, screw this, I want to jack it in?
Not one time did I talk to myself and say, oh, this is never going to work. You know why? Because I just heard dads Dad's lifelong, eternal, infinity, and he just said, you are going to be eaten alive. Make sure your legs are fast enough to run, because you're going to run and you're going to come back. You're going to run and you're going to come back. And I think his words of inspiration, they were knocked back with every new group. A new Bhangra group were coming out every week.
Yeah.
But Changi were struggling to kind of meet the potentials of a new audience or demands of a new audience, maybe because of the shift work Dad was doing, or the money or the distance, or it could be anything. I didn't want to be in that pot.
No.
I wanted to break anything that was coming in my way.
Yeah.
And I wanted to prove to people that even till now, those who said to me, "You're never going to get anywhere," on the Kam Johal show. I'm sitting here, it doesn't get better than that. So, amount of times males said to me, "This is ludicrous, your ambition is not going to be achievable." That's what made me go for it even more. I was like, so what if I don't get Vasaki Mela? Or so what if I don't get the Smedic charity ball? I'll get another gig. And I tried and tried and tried, and the breaking point came.
Okay. Yeah. So what was your first break? Who actually said, come on then?
I think it was the likes of Eden Project Cornwall. That was our first mainstream where a lot of non-Asians go.
So again, it wasn't one of our Sikh community that gave you the break?
Earlier on, the organisers of Vasaki, the first people that did the Vasaki Nagar Kirtan, who were part of Smedic Sikh temple, they were brilliant in supporting, because they knew who my dad was. Because my dad started in that Sikh temple. Yes. There was a bit of a family connection. Yeah. And Vasaki Millas and charity events, they were great, but I wanted more. Okay. But something's changed, hasn't it? Because again, Nagar Kirtan, there's no Dhol players there now, is there? I think they stopped, at the beginning I begged them. Yeah. I was like, not 5, it was just me, just let me lead. So you led the procession? So I led the procession in 1999. Okay, was that the only time, or did they ever have
Oh yeah,
I continued with my group after that. Okay. Once I put my foot in the door, and so, she lasted that long, right, next year and next year. And then obviously other things started to, come along, and then we had to stop. But I'm quite blessed that, the organisers did give us the opportunity, because they didn't question it. Sure. They said, oh, a Dhol player. Yeah. All right. Do you think that would happen today? At Nagar Kirtan or generally? Yeah, Nagar Kirtan. I think they have Dhol players, but very much away from the whole. Yeah, it's not the thing now. No, it's not. I think Dhol is more mainstream, a lot more mainstream now than it was 20, 25 years ago. So you go to the Eden Project? Yes. Play there? Yeah. Okay. And guess how big was the crowd? Oh, amazing! 2,000-3,000 people. There's one person in that crowd, and it was someone from Glastonbury Festival. And you played there, haven't you? Yeah. How many times? Invited us, so we played there 8 times. How cool is that? One of the most amazing experience. I mean, Cam, you wouldn't believe, when I used to brag about it, they were like, oh, Glastonbury, mud, they had I was like, think about the music, the atmosphere. It's one of the world's biggest events in the UK calendar in terms of music. That's right. And you had a Bhangra band performing there. And I couldn't believe it when I got the call. I was trying to get into Glastonbury. I was sitting with my dad, probably 8 years before we went on to Glastonbury. And I said, Dad, one day I'm going to get onto that stage. And he laughed at me. Yeah. Who else laughed at you? Everybody. Who's laughing now? Nice one. It's true. It's true. But you said very early on, because that's the other thing, isn't it? That people limit themselves. So when you talked about, you being 15, 16 and Mrs. Williams and music, you were already fusing, English traditional music, and Bhangra, weren't you, in your head, if not doing it? Yeah. So you already saw the vision, didn't you? Very, very early on, that I can go much more mainstream than anybody. But I had nobody to tell me the next steps. Yes. I had to figure it out myself. I had no social media. I had no YouTube links. I had no role models. I had no somebody who already did it. Yeah, there were a lot of Bhangra bands and Dhol playing bands, so I went to visit them. But it was kind of a dead end. It was kind of like they loved their own structure. I used to bring ideas forward. But I said, I don't want to perform to an Asian audience because...
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that was born out of seeing your dad's frustration and the limited audiences and the limited finances that you'd obviously, you know, you were brought up in this country and you'd saw music here and you'd listen to mainstream music as well, that you thought, you know what, I don't want to be playing to those small audiences and pubs and, you know, little functions, that you saw that, you know, Glastonbury, for instance, wow. How many people go to Glastonbury? 250,000, 500,000?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous numbers, aren't they?
But it was kind of like unachievable. That's all I kept hearing. You know, nah, don't be silly.
Shadapare.
And I'll be like, why?
Yeah.
Are you? That's what's one thing my mom used to say to me. You're a rebel. You've got to answer to everything. I was like, but why? Why can't I play at the Glastonbury? Why can't I play on the BBC? Why can't I be on that TV show? Why can't I have that interview? They're like, why would you? You're a Dhol player. I'm a Dhol player, but look at what we're doing. We're getting students in. We're getting them on stage. We're doing charity events. We're engaging a non-Asian audience to actually listen to Pachangi for the first time, or Apna Sangeet, or Punjabi MC. People never seen a traditional uniform. They've never seen a sardar or someone, you know, wearing a pag in a uniform. Why can't we do that? Why can't I promote Bhangra? Why can't I promote culture?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because, you know, Bhangra has been in this country a lot longer than somewhere like the States, for instance.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you will see a Bhangra group performing half-time at a football game in the States. And that hasn't happened here, has it? Not to that degree.
Not to that degree.
Right? Why do you think that is?
I think it's still a major culture gap. I think they do see Dhol players and Bhangra dancers as a great entertainment aspect, but we are far to break into a mainstream yet.
Why do you think that? Because I never get that. Because the Americans, our community in America is far younger.
Yeah.
They've had far less time than we have.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, your dad was performing in 1964.
Yeah.
And a lot of our audience that will be watching today won't even be born at that point.
Yeah.
Right? And so, yet we can't have, you know, I've never seen a Bhangra group or a Dhol player play at any major event that's televised.
They've come in the last 10 years, yeah, they have, like, you know, the Olympics, I can remember, and it was Live 8 with the UB40. There have been times where you've had a glimpse, Dhol players, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And I think there's so much talent in the mainstream and how they do things. I think the Bhangra industry still have got a long way to go.
Okay. So are you going to be leading that long way, that road?
Oh, I'm you know, I've tried my best in the last 25 years where we've promoted female Dhol players and the fact that, you know, it doesn't matter who you are, you can still become a Dhol player or a DJ or whatever it is. And Dhol players have broken into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, here in the UK. But I still think that there is a lot of a little bit of a way to go yet.
There's work to do, isn't there?
Yeah, because people like Punjabi MC already broke through into the records, the UK records. Then you've got DJ Frenzy, who's travelled the world. You've got loads of artists that are doing mainstream stuff. You know, BBC Asian Network are doing stuff. But I feel that the seriousness of it in terms of talent some way gets lost in translation. You know, I had to prove myself by playing to prove that I was a Dhol player. Now, that shouldn't really happen. You should take my word for it.
Yeah.
And that still happens to this day.
It does. Why do you think that is?
Because I'm a girl.
Is it still like that?
Still like that kind.
Why?
I went to a friend's wedding and I had the case on me. And I was walking from the car park. This was many years ago. And I put the door down like this on the DJ decks. And they just looked at me. I was like, hi. I took my jacket off. I was getting ready. I was like, you know.
Yeah.
They just looked at me. And I says, my set's next. They're like, who are you? So, I'm the Dhol player. We've got a Dhol player. No, but I'm the Dhol player that's booked for the bride and groom. Yeah, we've already got someone sorted.
All right.
You play Dhol? So, yeah, I had a sari on. It was my best friend's wedding. I had a sari on. And they thought I was actually taking the Michael. And then they didn't announce me on. They walked off the stage. And I said to my friend, what's going on? Tell them to turn the music off. And I went on. and I played. And when I played, for God knows how long, I come off and they come over to shake my hand.
Okay, so you turn up and they think you're the Dhol player's helper or whatever it is.
I'm the bag lady.
Yeah?
Sorry.
So tell me what goes through your mind at that point. I'll show you.
Must blanket, focus, positive energy, focus. What did Dad say to me?
Good.
Don't let them get to me. Because otherwise I would have just done a U-turn.
Yeah. So that's called anchoring, right? So
yeah, it's kind of like, oh, God, here we go again.
Yeah, and of course you've seen it before, haven't you?
Oh, many times.
Yeah. How much do you use that to drive you on?
Not as much now, because my group does the talking. Sometimes I just sit there, I'm like, guys, can you just check the backstage? Because I just want to relax, and they do it for me. So the support and the backup and the love that we get now, we don't have to do as much.
Brilliant.
But before, it was very tough.
I can imagine. But then when you start anything, it's tough, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, but you have to persevere.
Yeah.
You have to prove them wrong. Everybody that came in your way will go one day. This is nothing, or you're not going to do anything, you're not going to be anybody. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. If you don't like the way we work, if you don't like the way we run, if you don't like the gigs we're going to, if you don't want, there's the door.
Is that your attitude today, or do you think that's part of your character? Have you always had that confidence even when you started, or is that something that's built up over the years?
I think when I was a youngster, I was a bit more, what's the word, balemans, very soft, and I always used to think, oh God, what would Dad say if he found out? But no, I don't think that at all.
Well,
I actually tell my dad, so Dad, before you hear it from anybody else, I've just spoke to It's like, what did you, so it's kind of like a more of a confident communication now than before.
I'm just thinking of, when people are starting out, it's a business like any other.
Yes.
In terms of, it's entertainment, but entertainment's still a business, isn't it? So I suppose you can't treat your clients and like that right from the get-go, because you need the business, don't you?
Oh yeah, I had to literally beg. I really had to build a portfolio. Yes, it might be frowned upon that I went to gigs for free, but I had to prove myself and just say, I'll open the event.
Yeah.
Are you going to charge us? No. I just want my name on the flyer.
Yeah.
I want my picture on the flyer. I just want to know that there's a female Dhol player with a team coming.
But Parv, that you had the big long game plan, didn't you? In terms of you're doing it for free for today, but you don't always have to do that. No.
Right? I knew that if I started what I did and I progressed. I mean, along the way, I taught myself computer science. I taught myself how to DJ because I couldn't afford to pay somebody to do our mixes. So we, learnt the DJing stuff. I met a lady Sangeet singer on the way, employed her. I met a Bhangra dancer who was teaching Gidda at the time to train our dancer. I employed her. So as I was going along the way, I thought of new ideas to embed into Eternal Tal. Dhol players, dancers, female DJ, lady Sangeet. What else can we do? Band baja? Yes, let's get the female band baja in, please. So I met, because they were the orchestra from my school where I worked. It's like, let's get you in. And I just built and built and built. Anything female, I would just put. Mehndi artists, yes, come along. And I just wanted to make sure that if there was an audience where they didn't want men, for example, say a wedding where they don't allow men in their culture, we've got a whole 50 women available.
Wow.
And that's what we do.
Are you still unique in that, or are there other female organisations or bands?
Yeah, there's many individuals and bands, if I recall. But in terms of making a business establishment, making a promotional aspect, I mean, I could have put a YouTube video up and made it the Parv show, not the Kam Johal show, but I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make it about me. I wanted a Pachangi group. So why couldn't I have an Eternal Tal group?
Sure.
A foundation of Bhangra warriors going to battle on stage. I had this vision. And it took me a long time. I mean, people, if you start now, you've got social media and you've got advertisements and you've got monetized. You've got so much. I had nothing. I didn't ever have a mobile phone.
No. And God forbid, some of our audience would be thinking, oh my God.
I had nothing. I had the word of mouth and I had my dad.
Yeah. But look, the thing is that those are the tools that were at your disposal. and used those, didn't you?
I had to.
Yeah.
I had to.
So one thing I want to take you back to a little bit is that I did a lot of work for free when I was learning the property business.
Yeah.
And people today come to me and they want to know how much money they can make out of something day one. All right?
So that puts me off already.
It's that's it though, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cha-ching and
I just want to, because the thing is, at the end of the day, you know, we want to learn.
Yeah.
And we want to impass, just like your father passed his knowledge. We want to pass knowledge onto the younger members of our audience that take a longer term view, because the money comes at the end.
Yes. It's the build-up, it's the knowledge, it's the experience.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of Dhol videos I see on Instagram, and there's the before bookings, let us know. And I'm like, you've been playing for a day.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, please get a teacher. There's loads of Dhol teachers or Bhangra teachers or even cultural Punjabi teachers.
Yeah.
You know, my dad teaches singing on a weekend. Go to somebody, find the knowledge and expertise, find where your graft is, find your way. But don't use the element of social media as a way of being successful.
Yes.
You know, you can get paid for TikTok now. I didn't even know that.
Neither do I.
Yeah. Well, TikTok, you get paid. I mean, you know, it's not something that came to my mind when I started. Right, where is the cha-ching? I just thought, right, how do we get girls on that stage? How do we get me onto that stage?
Yeah, because having money as a target, I don't think it works. If that's the only thing that you're in it for, you may make a little bit of money, but you're not going to last, are you?
No, because I had many emails, and the first thing that a student would inquire about is how much they would get paid.
Yes.
About nothing.
How does that make you feel when they say
nothing.
that? It turns you off, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course. Even though they would.
Yes.
And you get official documentation. It's a working business. I've got to pay taxes. You know, that conversation, it should be, how many hours am I going to get in my teaching? Which Dhol would I get? Is there a different Dhol I would get? What type of skin is that? Why would you wear a lungi or a suit? I don't get any of those questions. I was asking those questions back in the day, but it's a different world now. And I think that what we are aiming at is to promote Punjabi culture and Bhangra music to a wider audience. And that's the only way I feel that's why we get Glastonbury and the BBC and the Channel 4. And we've been in 3 Bollywood films. If I didn't promote Bhangra in the way that we did, I wouldn't even get 1 gig.
No. So you've really become a true ambassador, haven't you, for Dhol players? Yeah,
I mean, ambassador, it's kind of like a teacher in terms of the struggles we faced and the mindset people have. That is where I'm still going a little bit wrong in terms of making people understand that Bhangra is our culture, it's our tradition. You can make money from Bhangra and culture. And I think this year in the pandemic really it hit home. Yeah. You know, if I didn't have my full-time career, I wouldn't have any gigs for 2 years. So what would I have done? Yeah. People are full-time DJs. Yeah. People are full-time entertainments or wedding planners. What are they going to do for 2 years? That's where I think God gave me and my dad that talk when God came down in 1999. I think that was the talk that you need a career that will be everlasting, and your passion you can fund. And I didn't have no money, so I was to do a teaching degree, you can get bursaries free from the government. I was using that to buy a Dhol, my uniform, my sticks, you know, but I was just funding whatever I could.
But entrepreneurs do that.
Yeah.
You know, they find a way to feed their passion. And then eventually then the passion feeds them, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time in 8 years I don't need to work full time. I only go in now to teach computer science on the timetabled events, so I don't have to go 9 to 5, and I stopped that about 10 years ago because my Dhol, my entertainments team, Eternal Dhol, helped me gain a career out of Dhol.
And so how many members in the group?
We've got 35 women. Okay. From the age of, my youngest is 6 and my oldest is 57. Right. And they all combine in Lady Sangeet, Dhol, Gidda dances, Bhangra dances, Band Baja. And we meet up not as much now. We're all online.
Sure.
But we meet up 9 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
We teach, we train, we educate, and we inspire.
Fantastic. So if somebody wants to get involved, so they can be between 6 and 57,
You can go,
or younger or older.
Or younger or older. Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to have a skill before. We can train you. We teach you. If you don't, even if you don't want to perform and you just want to do it for yourself, I have so many women that are in my group, and they said we always wanted to play the Dhol. Nobody let us.
Wow.
We always wanted to be in part of a Gidda team. Nobody let us. And that's where I think, oh, come on.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel that what we're doing is really good. So we've got a lot of older women playing Dhol for themselves.
Fantastic.
And we do classes in West Bromwich. We're also open now to online classes on the weekends, flexible. The group's called Eternal Dhol. You can go to eternaldhol.com. We're all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just drop me a message and tell me, you know, my daughter wants to learn, my son wants to learn, I want to learn. And just let's get cracking. Let's make some more Dhol players.
So virtual classes at the moment?
Yeah, virtual classes at the moment. It's not very good for my ears because of the headphones, but yeah, it's keeping the momentum going. You know,
of course.
You know, keeping people's spirits up. Straight from the lockdown, we started to play right outside the door for the NHS clap. That gave us more students. A lot of people started to inquire then because we were on the BBC. So yeah, the online classes is a new virtual way of learning, isn't it? And that's the way forward, I guess.
Yeah, and of course, anybody that's outside the area that can't travel, you know, for those 9 hours, so that will, I take it that would stay then, the online stuff, because that makes you international, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've got students from USA, Malaysia, America that have now joined the team. That's all virtual. I've got to keep them going. We've got to keep them going. We can't just, I'll leave today, or I'm going to watch Netflix. Or it's been 25 years. I've never cancelled a gig. I've never cancelled a class. And I don't think I'm ever going to do that.
Well, it's your passion, isn't it? It's not work, is it?
Yeah, it's a passion, but it's my business. It's my lifeline. It's my future. You know, one day my daughter might take it. She might not. So it's a bloodline. What my dad started as a passion. It's what this is what I was born to do.
Fantastic. So, you know, you've now started the conversation about family. So recently you became a mum.
Yes.
So how does that feel?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't really think that it would happen simply because of how busy my life was. And I think the stereotypical stigma of you're not married, you know, you haven't got kids. It wasn't in my forefront of my mind. That was the first thing that was said to me when I left uni. Right. Yeah. I was like, right, well, I've got to start a business. I've got a gig. I've got to give him 5 minutes, Mum. I can't talk. And that was the first conversations, constant conversations. When you're going to settle? When are you going to settle down? And I was like, I am settling. I've got a business. I'm making money. Okay. I don't need to work full time. Yeah. And then all of a sudden.
And what was their reaction to that?
With my husband coming.
Yeah, that you're not going to settle down yet, and you know you've got a business to run, and not going to follow that traditional route, because like university, get a job, and then it's time to settle down, right?
Not well.
Yeah.
As always, I'm always got to answer to everything. It was a struggle to prove to the family that I could do it. You know, I didn't have to go. I can do everything in good time. Yeah. And suddenly, yeah, my husband came along. Yeah. After that, my daughter came along, and it's like for them the jigsaw is just, oh yeah, that's fine now. My jigsaw was full way before. Yeah, sure. Well, I had a business, I had a good job, I had a master's degree. What more do I want? They were like, no. You're not ready yet. It's not happening yet. I was like, I don't get it. What's missing? And that's what I couldn't understand. What do you mean? What's missing? I'm fine.
Yeah, nothing's missing in my life.
Yeah.
But parents, you know, traditionally our parents are not happy until
got to respect that fact.
Yeah, until you're married in your own home, started a family, and then they think.
That's when the penny dropped for them. They're like, when are you going to go on the Kam Johal show? When are you going to go on KTV? That's when the penny dropped, and that's when I realised that they think on.
Yeah, that's it. You're done now. Aren't you? You could retire now. You've been on the show.
Yeah, that's it now. I can retire.
We've done that. Right.
We're done. Yeah.
So, You know, what I wanted to ask you was that we've had lots of very successful women on the show.
Okay.
And they've talked about balance of still having to do their traditional role in the house, and then their career or their business. So has that changed? Because obviously you're a young person. You know, you a very modern take on what home and work-life balance looks like. You know, does your husband lend a hand and help with all those chores and things like that around the house?
Yeah, you know, the first conversation I did have with him is, if you marry me, you're going to marry my doll. And he was like, he just looked at me and he's just like, yeah, that's fine. And I'm quite lucky and blessed that I had a modern thinking family.
Yeah.
And everybody chips in. And I don't feel like I've got a hierarchy of what's priority. Everything's equal: my job, my business, and my marriage and my working and my personal life. And it balances well because I've got the support.
Yes.
My dad is retired, loves music, and he loves babysitting. So I think the support mechanism I'm quite lucky and blessed to have. It's very easy for me to go to work and not think about 100 things. It's easy for me to go to a gig and not think about 100 things because I get one phone call and it's done.
Wonderful.
And the support is the main thing. If you haven't got that, I think I would have struggled.
Yeah. Life becomes very hard, doesn't it?
Yeah, life is hard.
Yeah, but if you haven't got the team, because you've got your team at work and in your business, haven't you?
Yeah.
But you also need the team at home, especially with a young child.
Yeah, teamwork, of course, it's all equal. And that's probably one of the conditions I did put.
Yeah.
That I am I'm a Madonna, I'm a superstar, so I travel. And that didn't even come into question. It didn't even come into conversation about what you mean. What do you mean you go out till 4 a.m? What do you mean you go and DJ and you come out? It wasn't even in the question. And that's what I loved about it. And I think that this day and age, I hope women can follow their dreams, look forward to what they want, and they can succeed in whatever jigsaw puzzle they're trying to put together.
Of course.
You know, it doesn't matter what you want to do, as long as you go out there and do it with full heart.
Yeah. Okay. So tell me about the film, the biopic.
Yes. I didn't think you would mention that.
Why is that?
I really didn't think you was going to mention that. It's on the cards.
Mm-hmm.
A Bollywood producer has approached me.
The story of your life.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's all I want to say about it.
Okay, that's great. So it's coming soon, right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. You're going to do it, right?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
So tell me, through Dhol playing now, so you could have been the computer science lecturer, fantastic career, very successful, very professional, and, get all the status, all the credit for that.
Yeah.
Right? But Dhol playing's taken you all over the world, hasn't it?
Yeah, Dhol has taken me places where I'd never go.
Yeah.
I've met people I've never would have met.
Mm-hmm.
I've got inspired by people from all parts of life, whether they're writers, producers, filmmakers, everywhere, which I wouldn't have got if I'd stuck to a computer science lecturer in Birmingham Uni. Yes, Kam.
Yeah.
Kam was educating me one day, giving me the talk of life. And you're right, Kam. If you do not go out your way and do what you want to do, then what is life?
It's not quite the full life that you could have had. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's so much to this story that we're going to have.
So much.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for the future. I want to leave a legacy for my daughter about her granddad. Granddad was traveling the world and mummy was traveling the world. And be an inspiration of the history behind Bhangra music, where it started from, how it came about, who were the influences. And I want to be one of them to say that we had nothing and we became something. And that's where I want to take the biopic.
Incredible. And then that leaves an amazing history and a lesson for future generations.
Yeah.
And it brings Bhangra into a life where it actually means something. It's not just a bunch of guys jumping around on stage. There's so much history from our homeland, isn't there, about Bhangra and why we do that.
Yeah, and I think teaching that to a non-Asian audience is the best feeling ever, Kam.
Sure.
And it's sad to say along the way that people in the Bhangra industry didn't support me.
No.
And that's the most saddest part, I feel, that I had to find my way outside the Bhangra circle. And I wish, and that's why I'm in the Bhangra circle. So if anybody asked me a question, if anybody wanted lessons, if anybody wanted a gig, or I'd give them all my experience, all my tricks of the trade. I would help because I had nobody.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? If you don't get something,
yeah,
and then the best thing you can do is learn it and give it back.
Yes.
Because you know, there's a young Parv out there somewhere.
Of course.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's going to follow in your footsteps.
Yeah.
And you can make that path easier, right?
There's loads of little Parvs, there's loads. And I wish I could tell them, please do it this way, or do it this way. But they've got their own journeys, their own aims and objectives. So I wish them all well, wish everybody all well. But Eternal Dhol will continue and Parv Kaur will continue.
Well, we shall watch with interest. Looking forward to the film.
Thank you, Kyle.
That's it, time.
Thank you, everybody.
Catches us all. So anything you'd like to say to the audience?
I will do it, I can do it, and I will continue to do it. And I just want to thank Kam Johal, and I want to thank my dad, who's always supported me. And just keep supporting Bhangra music and keep watching KTV, Kam Johal.
Thank you so much. So guys, time, as I say, waits for no man. End of another episode. I don't know about you, I'm really inspired, and I've been speaking to Parv for a little while now, and ever since the first time we spoke, you can see the energy, and I hope that came through to you today. Something that you may not have taken seriously in terms of, you see the Dhol player at most weddings, and you think, well, okay, but here's a lady that's proven that you can make a career out of it. She's been on every stage that you can imagine all over the world. So if there's a passion, if there's something that you want to do, go full out, talk to people like Parv in an industry that you want to go into. There'll be other people like her that will inspire you. Give me a call, give this lady a call at any point, and we're really, really happy to receive those phone calls and give freely of our time. So there's nothing that you guys can't achieve. So go out and go and do it. So until next time, goodbye. Thank you.